Hi cakers! Today I'm going to share with you the coolest cake pop tutorial. I'm making a splattered ice cream cone along with the most adorable ice cream sundae I think I've ever made. And I want to take this time to say a massive thank you to all of our subscribers. We have now hit the 50,000 mark. We can hardly believe it. It's been such an amazing ride doing Cake Style for YouTube. We've loved it. We love all of our followers. We keep seeing the same names popping up and commenting and sharing our creations. So it's absolutely fantastic. It has been a little while since I've made a cake pop tutorial though, so I thought it was about due. These are my favorite ways to make them, so I'm going to show you how. Now to get started on making this recipe, the first thing you need to do is make up some cake pop batter. We have a tutorial for it, so head on over if you need a hand. Today I'm going to be using some offcuts of cake that I've stored in the freezer for a week or two. If you've watched any of our lessons, particularly John's sculpted cakes, you'll know that there is a lot of leftover cake and it doesn't go to waste around here. We love to turn it into cake pops. So I've stored some of those offcuts and basically I'm just going to use that and a little bit of leftover ganache. You can use ganache or buttercream, and I'm going to mix that up and make my cake pop batter. Now I'm just going to let this sit into the fridge for about 10 minutes with some cling wrap over the bowl, just to let them firm up a little bit. So the other things that we're going to need for these cake pops are some ice cream cones. I've gone for a nice mini size with a flat top on it, just to make it nice and easy to work with. And I've also found some really adorable waffle bowls, and they're going to be perfect to put all of our dollops of ice cream into. We're also going to need some candy melts. I just picked up the white and I'm going to mix my own color. Again, we show you how to do that in the Cake Pop Basics class. And I'm going to be mixing 2 pinks, a soft pink Americolor and a Wilton Rose, along with a little bit of Flow Coat. And that's a product that will help your color to stick to chocolate or to candy and not seize it up. So just pop your candy melts into a microwave safe container that's tall enough so that you can really dip all of these pops into it. And now pop it into the microwave at 50% for about 40 seconds to 1 minute. Give it a stir, do another 20 to 30 seconds or so, just keeping an eye on it, stirring it in between the heating process. And now we have our beautiful pink candy melts ready to dip our cake pops in. Now taking out our cake pop dough out of the fridge, we're just going to start shaping first the cone. So we're going to need something fairly large to fit inside this. So just grab a handful, roll it into a ball, and you want a fairly large cake ball because you want it to really pop out of this waffle cone and look nice and full. Okay, so we know that's a good size. I'm just going to roll that again, place it on here to set up while I make our others. Now these next ones are going to be a little bit smaller. They're still a decent size for a cake pop, but we want 5 that are just a touch less than that to fit into our bowl. Okay, so now that these have rested in the fridge for a bit, they're still soft enough that I can reshape them and remold them, but they are a little bit colder and a little bit easier to work with. So now what I'm going to do is place the large one into the waffle cone. And to do this, I'm just going to dip the edge of our cone into the candy melts, just so that it forms a nice border. And then when I place this on top, it will help to seal it in. And I'm just going to allow it to dry. I'm placing it into what is actually a cupcake stand, but it works out perfectly with all of these holes to fit our ice cream cones into. Okay, so as for the rest of them, what I'm going to do is I have taken just a styrofoam dummy cake. You can also use one of those cake pop drying stands. I have one. I was just a bit too lazy to actually go and get it out of the cupboard. And I've made some little holes in there with some cake pop sticks, just so that it will be easier to insert them later. So all I'm going to do is pop them onto the stick. The best way to do that is to apply a little bit of our candy melt and then just poke that in there. And then we're going to let those dry. Do this to all of your cake pops. Okay, so now that we're ready to do our splattered ice cream, I'm also going to make sure I have on hand just some sprinkles. You can use any kind that you like. I went for something that you could just buy at the supermarket, nice and easy, and it's got some gorgeous pastel shades to it. And I also have some parchment paper out and just a small spoon to work with. So I'm going to take a section of our pink, dollop it onto our parchment, and then you just want to press it and push it out to get some shape. And then I like to shake the parchment just to get rid of any air bubbles. Now this time taking our cake pop, placing it inside, getting it so that it just goes all the way, lifting it up. If you've got too much, you can give a little shake, and then you want to place it into the puddle. Now if you're worried about it, you can just rest it up against there. Taking out our sprinkles, and you want to make sure that you're applying all of your sprinkles while it's still nice and wet. And now you can simply just allow this to dry. You can either pop it into the fridge or it will dry here at room temperature as long as it's nice and cool. Now it's time for our cake pops. Just submerge them, give them a light twirl, and then rest them up to dry. Now for about 4 of these, you want to sprinkle just a bit on top. Now you don't have to worry too much about making these super perfect because you want them to look kind of a little bit splodgy in places. Alright, so now we're going to let these set up for about 10 minutes or so, and then we're all ready to assemble them. So all you need to do is turn your cake pop upside down. I use both fingers on either side. Just give a gentle twist and it'll pop straight out. Now when we're applying them in, I just want to take a little bit of our candy melts and just spread it around the bottom to make it look a little bit like the melted ice cream. Take our cake pop that doesn't have any sprinkles on and just place it inside, pressing it down into that. And then we can start to layer our others, just using a little bit of candy melts. Now I'm going to come back and just add in a little bit into the center, and that will just help to stick all 3 of those together and just fill in some of the gaps. Place some little sprinkles in there, add some more and place our final one on top. And now we can just take our splattered ice cream, remove it from our parchment paper and pop it down. And there you go guys, another great way to make cake pops. These are so much fun. It's a great way to use some of that leftover cake if you've been following John's Sculpted tutorials. I hope you got a kick out of it. Please subscribe to our channel. We would love it if you would thumbs up this video, and we can't wait to make more creations.